Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tinashe Masaya once again, and I'll be your host for today. So let me maybe take this chance to just thank our guests for joining us today. So today we have Kudakwashe Chikonyora, and we also have Tinashe Masaya. So I'll just hand over the floor to them so that they can introduce themselves and get us started. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Tinashe. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here again. Both Kuda and I are not strangers to you. We have been in front of you today before. So I'll just give you a brief introduction of myself, and then Kuda, and then we can get into today's business. So again, for those who were not on the line when I presented before, I'm Tinashe Masaya. I'm a life actuary based in the US. I work for a mid-sized life insurance company within their enterprise risk management organization. I currently lead the corporate risk function, where I oversee the enterprise-wide risk metrics that include economic capital modeling, stress testing, liquidity stress testing, and governance. So my responsibilities include working with senior management across the organization to establish our enterprise risk appetite and framework across all risk dimensions. And prior to this company, I started my career as an actuarial student in one of the big insurance companies where I did some life pricing, hedging, and some cash flow testing work. Before I started my career, I came to the US from Zimbabwe after my A-levels for undergrad. And I went to college here, graduated with a major in economics and statistics. And I just joined my first company as an actuarial student. So today I'm talking to you about graduate studies application process in the US, but actually I didn't go to graduate school. So I'm going to, Kuda and I are going to give you as much as we can, and we did a lot of extensive research, and I've been kind of embedded in the educational system for a number of years now. So I know enough to be dangerous. So I'll try to answer, your questions as much as we can. But if there's anything that we cannot answer on the call today, we will take that back and get back to you with responses. Kuda, on to you.
Yeah, thank you, Tinashe. Hello, everyone. My name is Kudakwashe Chikonyora, and just like what Tinashe said, I also didn't go to grad school. I am currently a third-year scholar studying actuarial science here in the US at Valparaiso University. So I haven't gone into grad school yet, but I hope that today I'll be able to answer some of your questions and help you guys in your application process and everything. Currently, I recently finished an internship with a company called Liberty Mutual Insurance, where they do property and casualty insurance. And there I was specifically doing reserving for private passenger auto bodily injury reserves. So that's a little bit about me. I am also currently taking actuarial exams. I have completed one exam and I'm currently studying for the second one. And a fun fact is that I went to Goromons High School whilst I was in Zimbabwe. So I hope that today I'll be able to answer some of your questions today. But back to you, Tinashe.
Thanks, Kuda. So today's session is really geared towards recent graduates, those closer to graduation, or some other people who have been practicing for a few years who are interested in transitioning to the North American market. So in my opinion, applying for graduate school is the easiest way to transition to the North American market. And we've seen a lot of other recent graduates from different African countries who have successfully been accepted to a good number of graduate schools around here. And so today we are going to provide a very high-level overview of the application process for graduate studies in the US specifically, and answer any questions you might have. I'm going to go through a timeline which helps you visualize what you ought to be doing in the next 3 months if you are seriously considering applying to graduate school commencing in August of 2024. So if that's your plan, I guess the advice overall is start early. It will increase your odds of being admitted, because the timing of this session and where we are today, we are kind of late, but there's still plenty of time if this is what you want to pursue and you seriously start working on it like today after this session. So if you look at many graduate schools, you might see that they might have a deadline in April next year for your application. But in reality, many graduate programs have rolling admissions, which means applications are evaluated as they arrive rather than at once after the final deadline. So if you wait to put your application in February, in March, in April, those who have put their applications in December, they've already been accepted. They have already been given financial packages, graduate assistantships. So you want to be one of the first people to put your application in the system as soon as it opens. So here is So here is a sample schedule for a student hoping to enter graduation in the fall of 2024, which means starting around August next year. So, and this is the best case scenario, right? Which leaves time, to have a great application, resolve unforeseen problems. Because once you put in your application, trust me, there's always a follow-up of there's a lost transcript, there is a delinquent recommender. The people that you put in to give you recommendations, they just don't do it on time. So if you put in your application early, the admission officers, they have time to look at your application and get back to you before even the official deadline and say your application is still missing 1, 2, 3, and you have time to go back and fix those things. So in terms of application requirements, I put them in 3 categories. So the graduate school entrance exams, which is the GRE, and the TOEFL, which is an English test if it is required. And your statement of purpose. So this is the essay where you tell the admissions why you want to go study at their college and in their specific program, why you're best candidate for that. And then last but not least, the recommendation letters. So you need about 3 to 4 of them, depending on the school. So it's if you are just graduating, they're really expecting all those coming from your college professors, right? And if you have a few years of experience, maybe one of those can be from your work colleagues. So those are the 3 that I really consider kind of the cornerstone of an application requirements. Not complicated, right? Just 3 things and then you're good to go. So with these 3 laid out, now when do you need to get each of these ready? So in the next 2 weeks, like I said, the timing of this session, we had hoped to do this earlier on, maybe in July, but we are here at the end of August. So in the next 2 weeks, you need to register for the GRE exams. Or your TOEFL if you need it. And a lot of people ask if all schools really need these exams. The answer is no. But since you want to stand out and apply to schools where you have a chance of getting full financial support, I usually tell people to just take the exam. Let it not be your limiting factor. you don't want to be limited in the caliber of schools you apply to because you don't have the GRE. There are many schools, usually, my recommendation is apply to at least 4 schools, and you want the schools where there is a track record of, admitting international students before, where they give full financial packages. And so you don't want the GRE, not having GRE to be a limiting factor in the schools that you apply to. So the GRE, I really recommend that, take that, try to score as high as you can. That will make you stand out. And then the second exam I have here is, if necessary, is the TOEFL exam. So this is the English testing exam, which is equivalent to the IELTS that many people who are taking right now to go to the UK. So it's not a hard exam at all. It's really, English tests. And this one is less important given that you did your undergrad in English. So when you apply, and if there is a requirement for a TOEFL, what I've seen other people do is write a letter to the admissions to indicate that your first degree is in English, and you are writing to ask for a waiver from submitting that. But again, there are some schools that need them. So if you have the means, I would say just take it, get it out of the way. I was working with a candidate last year, helping him out, and he ended up not actually finishing some of his applications, which he actually starting again to put in right now, because he didn't have the TOEFL. He even has like a master's degree, and so shouldn't been, a problem. But some schools are very like, we need it, like, yeah, we understand and all that, but we need it. If you don't have it, we cannot proceed. So if you have the means, just take it, get it out of the way, and use the month of September and October to study. Give yourselves about 6 weeks to study for the GRE. The TOEFL, I don't think it needs a lot of time, but if you use those months to really just heads down study, and at the same time in the month of September, start researching and finalizing the list of schools you want to apply to. So in this deck, on the next slide, we have compiled a number of schools that we have seen other African students where they've been recently admitted to pursue their master's degrees in actuarial science, in math, in statistics, in whatever, who are hoping to go work as actuaries. So we have done some work for you on those lists, and this list is not exhaustive, right? We just went to a bank of resumes with people who are looking like for internships from other countries who are here, and look at the schools where they are, and we just took those schools and put them down. So you need to start, researching and finalizing the list of schools you want to apply to. I would say, 4 to 6 schools, have them down, and then begin drafting your statement of purpose. So your essays, based on the school, you can see exactly what they're looking for. But again, the statement of purpose is really universal. You only need to draft one, and you can, as you apply to different schools, you can tweak it, really slightly to kind of meet the question of each specific school, but it's really one. And start conducting your recommenders. So this is the area where it's outside your control, right? You can take the GREs if you go for it. You can take the TOEFL. You can work on your statement of purpose yourself, but when it comes to the recommendation letter, is a third party who is doing it. So you want to make sure you conduct them early and explain the timeline carefully, and what you are hoping for them to do for you, right? So please make those conducts very early. And then moving on to October, so maybe towards the end of the month, take your exams, take your GRE, take your TOEFL exams, and make sure the scores are sent directly to the schools that you have selected. You can do that. I think when you register or when the exam come, you can find that out when to tell kind of the GRE system to send the scores directly to the schools. And keep polishing your statement of purpose. Then request your official transcripts from your undergrad institution and keep working with your recommenders and send them some supplemental materials like your CV, your resume, then your personal statement, anything that can help them put their reference, beef up their letter for you. And at this point, you can also start making contact with professors at your prospective school. So when you're going to the system, when you're going to the, whether it's an actuarial science graduate program, whether it's a math or statistics, you can see the professors who are in that program. Sometimes there's even a contact information for the chair or whoever, and you can, start sending them emails showing your interest and letting them know that you will be applying to their program. You are very excited. It fits, with what you want to do and all that. And these professors, they remember. So that's it. That's your first kind of point of contact with the schools that you are looking into. And then marching on to November. So this is really completing and wrapping up everything. So when you take the GRE exam, the results, they come very quickly, maybe within a week or so. Retake the exam if needed, if you did really, really low, because on every, as you look into the schools, they will tell you that they are looking for your GRE to be, this is the minimum they are looking for. So retake your exam if needed and have someone, in the field or, a few smart and honest friends read over your personal statement and follow up with your recommenders to make sure that they are all, all set to submit when the portals open. So, and at that point, really this other thing too that we are doing as a follow-up from this is to kind of form a group, right? Of if you really want to, do this, and if you register for your GRE, there are a few of us from North America who will be available to help you, to help that group that are looking into applying next year, to help with any questions, to help maybe look over your personal statement and things like that. So, and most application portals, they open beginning of December. So you, like I said, you want to be among the first one to put your application in. Again, there's always unforeseen problems. I went through them when I was applying for my undergrad. A lot of people, you think that you have everything in, but schools are different. Some school will come back and say, yeah, can you put this in, or can you do that? And so you need a lot of time so that you can, if anything is missing, you have time to send it on time. So I know I've been talking for the last 15 minutes or so. I'm going to pause here for any questions. I said a lot of things. But like I said, we might not be able to answer all your questions here, but we can do some research and follow up with any responses. Tinashe, we left the channel open, right, for people to ask questions?
Yeah, we have the chat box and question and answer platform, so people can just type in their questions. If anyone is willing to ask their question, just raise your hand and then unmute you.
And just as people are asking questions, I'd also like to say some like pro tips that you can utilize whilst you're doing your applications. So Tinashe mentioned about, contacting your professors and looking at the program that you want to study and like reaching out to them through email. And also something that you could do is you can utilize LinkedIn. So you can look up their emails, their names, and then, connect with them on LinkedIn. And that way, that will give you an opportunity to not only talk to them, but also, the algorithm on LinkedIn, it can give you some recommended people to connect with. So for example, if you were to apply at my school and you go on LinkedIn and you connect with the professor, it's highly likely that you're going to see my name pop up as a recommendation to connect with. And who knows, you might know somebody who is from Zimbabwe, who's at that school that you can also talk to. And that will give you, help in terms of like, they will tell you how the school is and also help you in terms of your decision to apply for that school. So that's also a good pro tip. So if you do not have LinkedIn, I would recommend creating an account on LinkedIn and also connecting with its professors and recommendations. So. But we're open to hear any questions. We have more time now to answer your guys' questions. So.
Okay. As I said, if anyone would like to ask a question, please raise your hand so that I can unmute you, or you can just type your question in the chat box. So far we have one question from Nyasha Kawuni, and they're saying, how much is a single GRE exam?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So let me just do a quick search. I would think that maybe around I don't remember, maybe around $300, between 2 and 3. The last time I checked. I will come up with the answers, but as we is there any other questions?
No, that is it.
Okay. $220.
Did you say something, Tinashe?
Yeah. On the website here where I'm looking, it says $220, and then another $50 for the handling. Oh no, this is for special handling request. So around, I would say around between 200 and 250.
Yeah.
The cost.
And also, Tinashe, if you'd like to maybe go on the next slide and to show them the schools that.
Okay. Yeah. So before we get to the schools, I think, right? Yeah. So here we put together the kind of the graduate programs to consider. So in the US, one thing you should know is that things are not like a straight line where you graduate A-level with or you finish your high school with whether you are in the sciences, in the commercials, in the whatever, and then you go in the sciences, it's pharmacy, engineering, and medicine. In the commercials, you go into business or something like that. Here, like, you can literally do anything and end up doing something completely different. So like I said, I graduated with a degree in economics and statistics, but a lot of people ask, so how did you become an actuary? It's a long story, but here I am. So as you are looking at programs, you are not specifically looking for a master's degree in actuarial science because you want to be an actuary. Any of these are potential programs that you can apply to. If the school has only a master's, a master's in mathematics or statistics, applied data analytics, whatever, and they offer financial aid, go for it. It doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, when it comes to actuarial science, all you need to do is just take your exams. For me, this program of coming here, it's really a way for you to transition. A lot of people will tell you you don't need a master's degree for actuarial science, which is correct, right? When you are starting, you are starting as an entry level. You are starting with people who don't have the master's degree, but you are in Zim, you want transition to the North American market, the US as well as Canada, and the easiest way, in my opinion, is again graduate school. So any of these work, whatever you end up in. Like I said, we did research. We took resumes of people who are here already, but who did their undergrad in actuarial science in other countries in Africa, and these are some of the programs that they are doing. And then, so Kuda, you wanna?
Sure. Someone asked in the chat, they said, what about computer science? Computer science is also an option. So the ones that were on the screen are just like some recommended programs that you could do. But computer science, definitely you can do that. I know someone who from Zimbabwe who did computer science undergrad, and then they came to the US and did a master's in IT. So that's also an option. If you did maybe computer science in undergrad, you could also do IT here. And yeah, that's also an option. But these are just like the recommended programs that you could do. But IT for sure, you can do. Yes. And then these are some of the schools to consider. So there are a lot of schools that you can apply to, but these are just like the few schools that we think that, if you apply to these schools, you'll be up for success. So, yeah.
I could so we got another question through the chat box, and someone was asking, that is Takunda Chizema, and they're asking, do all these other programs besides actuarial science, I think they're trying to say, enable you to get exemptions, which I think they're referring to maybe exemptions from certain actuarial professional boards.
So in the US, we are governed by the Society of Actuaries for life, health, pension actuaries, and then CAS for property and casualty actuaries. And so they really don't give you any exemption for your degree, whether undergraduate or graduate. We have exams, so you need to take those exams, whether you did a graduate program in actuarial science or your undergrad in actuarial science. So it's a bit different from maybe the UK system or other systems where they actually give you some exemptions on the exams based on the courses that you have taken. I think that's still the case, right, Kuda?
Yes.
Okay.
The last time I checked, I saw that I think the CAS are doing some, they have some connections with other actuarial societies. So for example, the IFOA. So if you have taken some exams with that society, then they can be transferable to both societies. But for sure, I think that whether you do a master's degree or an undergrad degree, you still need to take the exams. But if you have taken an exam, for example, following the SOA path, for example, that can be.
And then Canada is a bit different. I cannot really speak to it, but I think they are working on a kind of new curriculum right now where you can have some credits from your college. Okay. I had it. I would say, so when it comes to financial packages, I'm sure there are like, loans out there, but it's really tough to get some of those loans as an international student without a collateral, right? Or without someone who is a US citizen who can sign off on it. So there are some loans, and there are some schools, they have a way of get you loans, right? If you're an international student, they can work with you and all that. That would be really kind of specific and looking into that. But my advice really is, try not to take loans, right? Try to put your application out there the best that you can early. There are graduate assistantships in most of these schools, and a lot of people, they come on, graduate assistant, and it usually covers everything and gives you a stipend. But if there is like, a small, I wouldn't take loans in the whole amount. We are talking about, maybe $30,000 a year or more here, right? For 2 years, we are talking about over 50,000 a year. But if you get, assistantships and scholarships and all that, and then there is still a small amount, then yeah, now you can, talk to the schools and see what other sources are there in terms of loans. And Kuda, do you want to talk about like for example, the Ayaba scholarship, some of the things that are out there that you can tap into to kind of cover some of the gaps that you might have in funding?
Yes, sure. I'd say before I say about the Ayaba, I think that Miana, to your question, you are right. There are like, available loans, like Tinashe said, but you just want to make sure that like that's not like your first point of action to say that I want to get a loan. Like you should first want to apply and then get the scholarship, get the graduate assistantship, which most of the time usually covers for everything. And then in case that you come here and like that doesn't work, maybe you need a little bit more, then you can consider doing loans and stuff like that. But that should not be like the main thing that you want to do. And then talking about like scholarship options. So if for example, if we're talking about actuarials, science and majors related to that, there is the International Association of Black Actuaries, which is called the IABA, and their goal is to increase the number of Black actuaries in the world. And so if you go on their website, you can register to be part of the IABA. They are open to everybody who is interested in their mission and goal. So you can register on that one. And they do have like scholarships that they give to people. So I am also a part of the IABA, and I'm also an IABA scholar. I registered when I came to the US with them. And so that is also another good option for you to do. All you need to do is, be a member and then apply for the scholarship, and that's it, like nothing else that you need to do, and then just get the money. And so I would encourage you to leverage those options. And like I said in the beginning, through LinkedIn. If you connect with members who are part of the IBA on LinkedIn, that will also help you because you can connect with them and also ask them about other potential scholarships that they have gotten outside of the IBA. So for example, I am also a scholarship recipient for the Actuarial Foundation called the Diversity Scholarship. So that's also another option. And I didn't even apply for that, but I got it because I had applied for the International Association of Black Actuaries Scholarship. So that's also another option. So I'll say overall, loans are available for sure, but let it not be the main thing that you want to consider first. First, look for scholarship and also graduate assistantship.
Okay, so
Sorry, Kudakwashe, I heard you mention the IABA. So maybe I had a quick question on that. I think some time ago I came across their page on LinkedIn. I was just trying to look around and take a look at the scholarships that they offer. So maybe I just wanted to confirm. The last time I checked, they only provided sponsorship for students at universities in the USA. So maybe if you could confirm if that has changed or that's still the case.
This I cannot confirm exactly. So I would have to do research. However, what I can say is I know some people who are part of IBA who are not in the US. So I volunteer through the IBA, and I remember on our last course we talked to some people who were in Ghana and also South Africa who are part of IBA, and they are planning on coming to the US to study abroad. And so I would say maybe try to go on the IBA website and put your application to be a member of the IBA. I like to think that they are open to anybody who is inclined with their mission, because I remember talking to people who are in Ghana and South Africa who are also part of IBA. So
okay. Thank you so much. That was really helpful.
Yeah, maybe when it comes to the scholarship itself, maybe they only offer if you are in the US, if you are attending a school. But being a member and getting the other things, I think it's open to everyone. And they even have like boot camp and other opportunities as well to learn more about actuarial science and all that. And like could I say, there are some people who are just coming here right now to start their graduate studies, but they did the IABA bootcamp when they were still in Ghana or somewhere else. So it's open, like being a member of IABA and participating in some of their what they offer. It's open to everyone, but I think maybe when it comes to their scholarship, I think it's maybe that's when they only give that to you when you are a student here or in Canada. I'm not sure, but we can get back to you on that.
Okay, sure.
as people are thinking of questions, I also wanted to mention that so when you are doing your application, it is also important to make sure that you're not doing like a blind application, but you're also following up your application. And so like what Tinashe said earlier, that is through going on the school website and looking, for example, who is the dean for this college of field that you want to study for example, the College of Business. And so you can connect with the dean and send them a message on LinkedIn or an email message. And that way they'll be able to see that you're interested. And so when they see your application, they might be more inclined to actually, consider you because they see that you're very interested and you want to study at their school. So that's also a pro tip that you could utilize.
Please feel free to continue the questions coming. Just raise your hand, type in the Q&A platform, or just type in the chat box.
And as we are waiting, there are some kind of questions, right, that you'll hear about. Do you have any tips for writing a successful statement of purpose, right? So as you will see, on different schools, they have a word limit on your statement, on your essay, on your statement of purpose. So use that word limit to advantage and try not to go over it. So it's really an excuse to polish up what you have, and the statement of purpose is another piece of your writing that will be seen by the admissions committee. So you want to be concise. You want to tell them what they want to know, right? It should highlight your strengths in that specific area of study and your potential, as well as why you are the best candidate for their program. Your unique interests that align with the faculty members in the department. So again, connecting with them. LinkedIn tells you a lot about a person, about their professional life. So, so this is a very, very important one to start looking for professors. And because like at some point with other schools is they admit you, and after they admit you, you need to reach out to individual professors looking for graduate assistantships positions. So if you can link, kind of your interest, if you put that really clear in your statement of purpose and it aligns with that professor's, it's a good way to start the conversation, right? I want to work with you. I want to work for you. I'm interested in because ABC, so that's kind of, and start early to draft your purpose, your statement of purpose, and have people look over it. And then the other questions is around the recommendation. When choosing recommenders, did you ask maybe well-known professors or junior faculty or whatever? It's different. I would say it's different because you are an international student. So even kind of well-known professors in Zimbabwe, they are not like well-known here, right? In the by the admissions officer. So it's different. So you want to choose someone who can speak specifically about you, about why you make a good candidate. And so usually, institutions, they ask for, more than one recommendation letter, 3 or 4. So that gives you a chance to have people who are maybe more senior and people who are more junior to write your recommendation letters. And you want someone, I think the bottom line is you want someone who knows you and knows your work, your work well, regardless of their status. Do we have?
I think someone asked that how much can I expect to spend on applications and how many schools should my shortlist have? So the application fees vary from different schools, but on average, I would say I think the application fees sometimes can be like $50, sometimes $70, goes up to $90 for an application fee. And I think for some schools, you don't need to pay the application fee. You can put in your application and then pay after, or you have to pay your application fee with your application. So it just depends. But I'll say on average, around $50 to $90 is what you should be expecting to pay for an application fee. And so that will also depend with how many schools you need. But like Tinashe said, I think, if you have at least 4 schools that you put in your application, that would be good, but even more is better. So if you can apply to 6 schools, that's also good because you're increasing your chances of getting better offers from different schools and stuff. So yeah.
And the second question is, how do I even start like the application process? So you start researching the schools, really, or like I said, there are three requirements, right? Which is the GRE exam, your recommendations, and your statement of purpose. And you can start by maybe listing the schools that you think you want, or just take the schools that we are going to share with you, and go on their website and look at their admissions. You want to look admissions, graduate school, actuarial science program if they have one, or math or statistics program, or computer science, whatever it is. And then look for international students, requirements for international students. So it's different, right? Your international students versus domestic students. So you want to make sure you look at that. And then there they will tell you kind of what are the requirements for the application, what you need to do. And on every school that you want to apply to, you can register to start your application. You can start your application. There's a link on every website for each school. Then you can register, and then that starts your application, which I think you can actually do it like now. Start like registering on their portals, and start seeing what they want, what is their flow for the GRE like scores, and if a school maybe doesn't even need GRE, they're optional. So you can see all that on the websites for each school. And then the process itself, it kind of just walks you like through, okay, you need to apply this, then you need to submit this, then there's a link where you can submit that. You need your transcripts, uploaded here. There's a link, you can upload those and all that. And for recommendation letters, I think it will just tell you to put the names and the email addresses of the people that are going to be your recommenders, and they will send, the school will automatically send a request to that person with a link for them to put their recommendation letter. So you don't see that part. It will go automatically to the recommender.
Yes, that was great, Tinashe. So, if you wanna start by looking into the GRE and thinking of considering registering for the exam and starting studying for the exam. If you give yourself at least like a month to study, that would be good. And then, go right ahead and do the application. And like what Tinashe said, we're hoping that if people are interested and if somebody has like registered for the exam, then we can create another separate group chat where we can help you in terms of like the questions that you might have, or writing up your personal statement, and things like that. So we'll also be happy to help with that. And we'll also hope to do maybe a separate meeting where we can talk about, okay, so you have done your application. Let's say, for example, you have gotten an admission. So now what? So which are like the next steps once you've gotten your Form I-20 with the admission letter? You would need to consider, applying for a visa if you don't have one. Some people, might not have a passport. For example, I didn't have a passport when I thought of like applying. So I had to apply for a passport first and things like those. So we can also do like a follow-up, like separate meeting to talk about the next steps once you've gotten admitted to school. But for now, we're happy to answer questions about like application processes and stuff.
Yeah, so there will be a group, a mentorship group for the people who are, considering applying for the fall of 2024. So once you do your your work and have research the schools that you want to and apply for GRE, register and all that, then we can have like a group where a group from here, and then that group we can have, you know, kind of more meetings and more group chats and any specific questions and even one-on-one kind of like mentoring. So that's the goal, but it has to be, you know, people who are starting the, you know, the process for the 2024. So we'll work that out, all that out with ASC, with the ASC leadership, and set that up going forward. And I think there is a question here of what are the characteristics of a successful scholarship recipient? Kuda, you wanna take a shot at that?
I would say the characteristics, so you need to apply early for any type of scholarship that you want to apply to. That's number one. And then you need to have good recommenders, or, you know, people, one or two people who are going to give you recommendations. And so that means you need people who know you at a personal level so that they can actually tell your story, you know, without you being there. So that's number one. So that could be like your professors from your undergrad degree that you have interacted with in your time at school. So they can tell you, they can, you know, be able to recommend you. And then you also want to make sure that you have a good personal statement or like an essay. So usually I think scholarship will prompt you for like an essay question. For example, why are you interested in this certain field? Let's say if you are thinking about actuarial science, why are you interested in actuarial science? Why do you want to be an actuary, for example? So you need to be able to tell your story and make it personal. So something that I think really helps is, you know, when I started writing essays for scholarships, I would, you know, go on Google and like look up like the question, and I would find answers and try to write that. But I think that, you know, if I can go on Google and find the answer, then that's probably not a good, you know, essay, because anybody can do that. So you want to try to make sure that like you say your story, your personal statement, why you are interested in being an actuary, your background, and make it personal so that like, and also it will be real. And it's just not like generic stuff that anybody can go online and find and submit. So that will also be my tip. So characteristics of a good scholarship recipient is applying early, having recommendations, people that know you on a personal level, and also writing the essay and making it personal rather than getting generic information from Google. Any more questions?
We have someone. Yeah, I was actually wanted to maybe ask Tinashe to maybe share the presentation, the slides with me on email, so that I can let us circulate them to the rest of of our members, if that's okay.
Sounds good. We will share this. Yeah, we actually put this together for us to share with you guys. That's why we added the schools here and some of the programs and some of that. So we will definitely share. Yes, we're here. And a lot of it is, I would say, following through. Some people, they get excited about the idea, and then maybe once they go onto the portals and start looking at, you know, the requirements and all that, they just get bogged down and give up. And yeah, I would say, if this is what you want, just follow through with it. there will be a back and forth sometime with the admissions. And to me, if the admissions are that engaging to ask you for more stuff, it means they are looking at your application. So you should get excited, right? And so, but this is a real possibility. We are seeing a lot of international students, of Africans who did actuarial science in Africa. And a good country that is really represented is Ghana. Like for us to actually come together like this, it was one of the IABA conference where we saw a lot of students that were in attendance were graduate students from Ghana who did their undergrad, but they are now here for their masters. A ton of them. And so the question was like, how can we, help our fellow, countrymen and women to come to do the same if that's what you want to do. And so this is something that other people are doing. This is something that is doable. You just have to follow through and again start early. This session is late. We have wanted it to be sometime in June, July, but again, you still have plenty of time. That magic date is like beginning of December, so you still have three solid months, and it's doable.
It is doable, Tinashe. And I would say, if I were to give some encouragement to you guys, would be follow through. And the process of application sometimes, if you are doing it by yourself, the first time might be a little, scary, or it might not be as easy. And so I would tell you that when I did my applications, like it wasn't easy. And, my parents had to sell one or two mbudzi, we just didn't have money lying around and stuff to do that. So I would say if it gets tough, just remember that you can do it. And also, if I could do, I remember when I applied, it was during COVID. And so I had to actually get a deferred delay to come to the next semester because I didn't get my visa on time and stuff like that. So those things you might not expect to happen, but it might happen that you go to apply for a visa and it doesn't come out on time, but you have gotten admission, and so you can defer to the next semester. But the important thing is, you don't give up and you continue the process, because that's what's important. If you write your GRE and maybe you do not get the right score that you want, you can retake the exam. It's not the end of the world. But what's important is starting the process and getting into that uncomfortable position. It seems like we're almost right on time, but I don't know, Tinashe, if you have other questions that you might want to ask for your participants.
Oh, I think we have until 8:30 or 7:30. So we still have time, but we can wrap it at the top of the hour if there are no more questions. There are some. Yes, so a question from Walter is he wants to confirm that this whole process is after your bachelor's program. That's right. So this is to apply to a master's program. And then where can I get GRE test prep material? So I think, which I think is true, that after you register, they actually give you test prep materials. Like when you register, you can download the materials to study, I think. Or there are a lot of test preps online. Some of them you have to pay. You have to pay for them or whatever. But I think once you register, you get materials to prepare. We can confirm that, but I think that's how it works. The other option as well is so the U.S. Embassy in Zim, they have an educational center where you can join, you can pay $40 and be a member. Whether you're in Bulawayo or you're in Harare, like they have those. They have kind of centers and even maybe the other cities as well, where you can join and become a member. The last time I checked, their membership fee was $40 for you to join. And they have extensive libraries of materials, right, for you to prep. Not only that, all these things that we are talking about, the essays, you know, prepping for the GREs, the recommendations and all that, they have advisors there that can work with you, that can help you with this process, someone that you can actually go and sit down with in person, you know, in addition to some of these virtual sessions. So that's, for me, that's the process that I would recommend. I don't know how much it is right now, but I think as late as last year, it was $40 to join, to be a member. So the U.S. Embassy Educational Affairs department, they have that. And so that's a big resource for that. For prepping and all the other things that you need. And they have been doing this for decades. So that's what they do for a living, right? So they know a lot. There are some, you know, simple questions that you're asking us, and we need to go research. We need to they have everything on their fingertips. So that's a resource that I would recommend if you are really considering this.
Yes, that's right, Tinashe. And someone asked here that are there any restrictions or regulations related to working while studying for a master's program? I would say, so for an international students, at least for the undergraduate program, you are limited to working on campus for 20 hours per week if you are in school studying. And then if you're not taking classes, you can work up to, for example, 40 hours a week to a field related to your program. So for example, you can do an internship over the summer, but then during school, you can work on campus for up to 20 hours a week. But if you're doing a master's program, and the hope that is that you can get like a graduate assistantship, and there you'll be getting paid. So in that regard, you probably, will be okay doing an extra few hours per week, but the graduate assistantship would be like, your main form of like income or employment, and you probably shouldn't need to do more hours than that. But I'll say the restriction mainly is if you're in school, you do 20 hours a week maximum. And then if you're not in school, you can work up to like 40 hours a week. So I guess that's like the main restriction. I don't know if Tinashe, you have anything to add on that.
No, that's true. Yeah, when I went to undergrad, I think that was the number of hours.
Yeah.
And so the other question that I will skip, the one about the GREs being expensive. We can get to that. Would I get ready to answer that? But is it easy to get a job in the US after completing your master's program? So for that, it's not, I wouldn't say it's easy or it's difficult. You just have to find a job, right? And so for a master's program, the reason why this whole let's start early, get your admission early, it's a rolling. If you start early, you get your admission early, and then you can start, we can start working on, okay, you are coming to the US. What do you need to do, to be best, kind of, situated as you come? Because, for example, joining IABA, being, be their bootcamp participant, being a scholar, and if you can come end of July, you can actually attend the IABA conference, which is another story. But being an IABA member, have your resume sent to them, and maybe attending their bootcamp and doing all the other things. For me, that's a key thing that you have to do even before coming, to the US once you get your admission. Because what AIBA does, it's International Association of Black Actuaries, like Kuda said, they are trying to, to increase the number of Black actuaries around the world. And a lot of companies in the US and Canada, they are going to IABA and say, we want to have more Black actuaries in our organizations. Can you help us? Can your organization help us, right? And a lot of companies, they sponsor IABA, and those companies, they get the resumes of all the IABA members who are interested in internships or full-time. And when we go to that conference in beginning of July, in beginning of August, some companies are actually interviewing. We have a lot. I think we had over 100 companies at the IABA conference interviewing on right there for internship. So if you are coming, let's say in fall of 2024, the year for your attachment is summer of 2025 before you graduate in May of 2026. So you need to be, to be in that position to start interviewing before you even come. Like right now with my company, we were interviewing people who put their resumes through IABA. They joined the IABA, they did the boot camp, but they were still in Ghana, for example, right? But they sent in their resumes. We picked up their resume. We're like, oh, this is a great candidate. We want to interview them, right? And the good thing now is because of COVID and all that, a lot of companies, they're doing this virtual. So then I'm talking to someone, they're like, oh yeah, it's night here. I'm still in Ghana. My school isn't opening until the end of August, so I'll be coming there in the next 2 weeks or something like that. So it's things like someone is securing their attachment for next year while they haven't even started their program. That's the key. That's the key of starting the process early. You get all these things, going, because your internship, that one summer internship, is your gateway into full-time. It's hard to get a full-time without an internship. And a lot of times when you have an internship, it's a 40 to 50 chance that company will give you a full-time offer. Usually companies, they take in 10 interns, and then they extend offers to 5 of them. So you have about 40 to 50 chance. But even if you don't get a full-time offer from that company that you intern with, you can, with an internship, under your belt, it's really easy to look for full-time jobs with other companies as well. So, and you need companies that, that sponsor your work visa after you graduate. And it's just positioning yourself well, so for success. Like I said, a lot of people are here, a lot of people are doing it. And a lot of people, as long as you're an international student, doesn't matter where you're coming from, unless maybe, I don't know, yeah, maybe some other first world countries as well. But I think even other first world countries, you need a visa, you need a work visa when you graduate. And Kuda is still a student. He's looking at that. When he graduates, he needs his work visa, right? So I was on work visa after I graduated. So it's something that everyone goes through, right? But you want to position yourself well for you to have that internship after your first year of your master's program, and hopefully that will lead into the full-time, whether with that company that you intern with or with other companies.
Yeah, and I think you already answered Nyasha's question, which is, upon finishing the master's program, what happens next? Let's say, for example, I want to enter and go on to work. Is it possible? Am I not deported? So this is exactly what Tinashe was saying, Nyasha, that the process or the key is not to wait until you finish the master's program, but rather to start before you even start the master's program. So, for example, you got admission and you come here, you start your program. When you start your program, you also start to look for potential companies that you can work for. So if you join the IABA, they have a list of companies that sponsor them. So you start to apply for internships before you even finish your master's program. So for example, I finished my school in 1 year. but I've already done an internship with the company. And so when I finish my program, that company might be more likely to hire me for a full-time job because I've already worked for them before whilst I was still a student. So I would say that's the main goal. And then to go back to the question about the GRE tests, I don't know if there are any waivers for the test, but I think that some schools don't really require the tests. So it's, to some schools, it's not a recommendation. It's not like required, but it's recommended that you have the test. And if you have the test, then you are more likely to get the high scholarship offers than somebody who might not have the test. So I do understand that $200 seems a bit too much. It is, but I think that if you make that sacrifice to pay that $200, that'll be a good investment in terms of your future. So.
Okay, and so the next questions here from Elmarie is are there any chances of getting a scholarship for the master's degree? Yes, there are chances. I think we have said that before. Start your application early. Be the first one of the first people to put it in, and you are really targeting graduate assistantships with these colleges, and hopefully you can get that. Even if there is still a gap, there are some other sources to fill in that gap. That includes the IABA scholarship, the actuarial foundation, and some of it really is, once you come, it's easier to look for work around, right, at your university. With other professors as well. You might not get a full whatever with your program, but there are maybe some other professors who have some work, who want somebody to do 10 hours in their lab, or so it's easier. I know some people who have come and they got enough to get their visa, but then they still had a gap. And once you come, usually it works out even with that small gap that you might have. And the other question is, when you are enrolled, is it possible to come to SIM for vacation? I think so, because you have the visa, so you are on a student visa for those 2 years. So I think you can go back and forth to SIM. Yeah. Usually it's like you come here in August, maybe you want to go back in December, you can go, but it's like the summer from May to August. Usually you won't be, having an internship around that time, so maybe not a lot of time to travel. But if you have a gap after your internship until the beginning of your final semester, your final year, you can go back, and even the following December you can go back. So it is possible. Okay, we're still here.
Yes, we are.
It seems that was all the questions we had for today. I think you guys have really done a great job in as far as attending to the questions that were coming through the Q&A platform. But it seems more are still coming. I think someone just asked, if I start this process in mid-September after I4A exams, can I win? Not so sure if you have an answer to that.
So the I4A exams. So So here in the US, there are two actuarial societies, which is the SOS and the CAS. So if you are taking the IFOA exams, that's a different route. However, like we said in the beginning, I'm not quite sure, but I think that those exams can be transferable to the CAS exams. But I think that's like a different path for the UK or in South Africa. I'm not quite sure exactly. So yes, you can win. That's for sure, because you're taking those exams and they're all actuarial exams. But I'll just say that process in mid-September. Well, mid-September also kind of seems like a little bit like too far, because we are hoping that you start the process of studying for the GREs now. But I would assume maybe you are already currently studying for the IFO exam that you're taking in September. So I'll say maybe go ahead and like take that exam. And once you pass it, that'll be an advantage because it can be transferable maybe in the future. So that'll be my short answer for that question. Hopefully I did answer it well.
Yeah, mid-September isn't too bad, but you want to make sure you just jump into it, into start studying, because like I said, maybe you need about six weeks to study for the GRE exam. So that will put you at the end of October, right? To take the exam, you still have November to get your scores and see if you have to retake. Hopefully you don't have to retake it, right? And yeah, so after your IFOA exams, you can start studying and start other things as well, like start your statement of purpose and other things at the same time as you're studying. What else do we have? If you can get a chance to be enrolled even with a third class degree, what's a third class degree? Could you know?
I like to think that there's first class degree, second class, third class. I don't know if first class degree is like the top degree and then third class being on the bottom of that criteria. I'm not quite sure, but I think whichever degree that you have, whether first class or third class, yes, you can get a chance to be enrolled. So now, I personally didn't go to grad school, but I enrolled without a degree. So I like to think you with somebody with a third class degree can apply to a school and get into the school. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I guess that's the like 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3. I guess so. Yeah, you can still apply. But you want to if you're still an undergrad right now, you want to make sure you are try to aim for that 2-1 kind of class, 2-1, 2-2, because you wanna be competitive, right? You want to be competitive. You're applying, you're competing with people who have GPA, right? Yeah, grade point average. GPAs of above 3.2 to 4. So I think there is a way of you to convert your degree, how your degree converts into GPA, because here we use a grade point average GPA, which is up to 4. So yeah, you wanna make sure that you're working hard in your undergrad, so that you aim for that 2-1, 2-1, 2-2, and try to avoid a 3. But you can still apply. If if you kill it in your GREs, your essay is really good, your recommendations come in really good, you still have a chance.
Yeah. And there's a question again which says, let's say you have a mathematics degree, are you able to do a master's in actuarial science? So that's a good question there, Emery. And the answer is yes. So you actually don't have to have a degree in actuarial science to do like a master's in actuarial science. I think Tinashe, you can help me with this one.
Yeah. So you can apply, like I said. It's not a straight kind of a straight line here. You can apply to any program that is related, right? Some of the programs that we put here are whether you did math and you want to do masters in actuarial science, whether you did actuarial science in undergrad and you find, funding to do a math masters, it's fine. Like any of these apply. Any of these, actually all of these that are here are the people who did their undergrad in actuarial science, but they are doing their masters in these programs. And they are going to be actuaries. They're taking the actuarial exams. So yes, this is not only for people who did actuarial science in their undergrad. This is if you did math, if you did statistics, if you did, data analytics, whatever it is in your undergrad, and you want to, you're either applying to actuarial or a program or math or statistics or anything like that. So
yeah. And there's a question which is, how long is the internship program? So the internship program, I think the traditional one runs during the summertime. And so that is between end of May and the beginning of August. So that is during like the summer break. So I did my internship this summer. That was, I started at the end of May and I ended at the beginning of August. So that's usually the timeline for an internship. It's about 3 months. Some of them are like, 12 weeks, 11 weeks, 10 weeks. It just depends with your availability, but that's usually the time frame for the internship. So it's usually when you finish your winter semester, that is at the end of May.
all right.
We've answered this other question before. Are there any exemptions to actuarial exams after completing a degree in actuarial science? And the current answer for right now is no. So whether you do a master's or a PhD in actuarial science, you still need to take those exams. So there are no exemptions so far, at least for the SOA and the CAS part.
Yeah, those are the organizations that govern actuaries in the US. Okay, so in the chat, one of our Kuzi is online, and he did send a link for our LinkedIn page. So please go and connect with us. Yes, on the exams, another, actually in the North America just reminded me that there is a requirement in the exams called the VEEs, and I'm not even going to try to define what that means, right? But it's a requirement by the Society of Actuaries for you towards your exams, and that can be met with your college classes. So whether it's a master's from your master's program or from your undergrad program, it can fulfill they call it the VEE requirements. I think VEE is still there, right, Kuda?
Yes, it is. So all the VVEs, that's like economics, corporate finance, and those like statistical processes, courses. If you didn't do, I think, for example, if somebody didn't do an actuarial science degree at undergrad, let's say they did communications or something like that. So they would have to take those VEEs. However, if you did an actuarial science program, then you'll be exempted for those courses. You don't have to take them because it's assumed that you take an actuarial science program, you've taken finance, economics, and things like that. So those for sure are exempted.
Okay, I think we can go ahead and wrap this up. Again, this is our LinkedIn page. Feel free to send any questions, and Kuzi just put another another link to know more about the scholarships that are available in the chat. So please copy those links, connect with us on LinkedIn. And again, we are open for any questions. I know I'm connected with a lot of you on LinkedIn. So if you have any questions, please, ask away, ask the group. There are more of us on the group who can respond, but again, you can feel free to, to ask me or Kuda directly, and we'll make sure to do a bit of research, but we will follow up with ASC for kind of the way forward with the cohort that is seriously considering applying for in the fall.
Yeah, that is right, Tinashe. And Emery asked, the question that you just said, I would like to connect. How can I get your personal details? So my name is Kudakwashe Chikonyora. If you go on LinkedIn and type my name, I'll pop up and you can connect with me. And there you are able to message me and I can answer your questions personally.
Yeah, my name is Tinashe Masaya on LinkedIn. You can find me. I have a picture there. There might be a number of us, but you'll be able to find me.
Okay. I think we'll just wrap it up here. So maybe let me just take this opportunity to thank our guest for today. That is Tinashe and Kudakwashe, and also the rest of our guests who took their time off to just be here and listen on into this amazing session. And also thanks to Kuzai Maveneke with links for the scholarship and for the LinkedIn network. So please feel free to just come through, even if you still have any lingering questions after the session. I will gladly just forward them to Kudakwashe and Tinashe, or just connect to them via LinkedIn. I think that was all for today. So thank you guys for just making time to be here.
Right.
Thank you, Tinashe.
Thanks, Tinashe.
Okay, cheers.
Bye.